Welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity, and we're going to continue with our little concept exercise. I'll pull a concept from the jar. I will take a deep breath, and then I'll attempt to speak on this concept for at least 4 minutes. As you notice, I'm no longer saying 4 minutes because I have been consistently going over time. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And the concept I pulled out was 3 jewels. The 3 jewels. The 3 jewels. I'm going to speak about the 3 jewels, even though I know that I'm probably not in a position to speak about the 3 jewels. I don't consider myself a Buddhist, monastic by any means, or I don't even consider myself a Buddhist or a Dharma teacher, though I am enthralled by Buddhist teachings, and I have deep, deep reverence and respect for them, and I do include them into my own life practice on a daily basis. But I am by no means a Dharma teacher or a monastic, a Buddhist monastic, or even a Buddhist. I don't identify as anything really. But anyway, what are the 3 jewels? They belong to Buddhism, and they're referring to Buddhist teachings. The 3 jewels are, number 1, the Buddha. Number 2, the Sangha. And number 3, the Dharma. I might not have them in order, but the Buddha I know comes first, the Sangha, and the Dharma. Now, the Buddha was, of course, the first person in Buddhism to become enlightened, fully enlightened, and to see the truth of everything, to become self-realized, and to see beyond the maya of existence and the illusion of existence to what is really important for the human experience. And the Buddha was the first one to be a Buddha, but Buddha is something that we're all capable of being, and it simply means to be enlightened, to reach that state of true realization or enlightenment, to allow the light, the energy of who we are in us to flow freely through us, and to relax into that and to serve humanity. So we all have that capacity. So when we talk about the jewel of the Buddha, is the jewel of the Buddha leading the way for us all to reach that state or attempt to reach that state of Buddhahood, and that becomes a jewel, one of the precious things in life, one of the only precious things in life. The second one, and I don't know if it's Dharma or Sangha, I'm going to say, no, maybe it's Dharma. I'm going to say Dharma here. The Dharma are the teachings of the Buddha, the way, the moral, I want to say moralistic, but the rights, the 8 rights are probably a part of that Dharma. To how do we approach life? How do we live wholesomely in life? How do we do no harm? How do we connect with that interbeingness between us and everything else? How do we recognize the no self, the self, which would be the self with a capital S in yoga, and the Buddha referred to it as the no self. In other words, the elimination of the ego, recognizing that this ego that we call the little me, the little self, is really nothing at all, and to be able to see beyond it to what is real and true. That's the Dharma. Dharma, the 5 realizations about the human experience. It's the 4 noble truths. Suffering exists, and there is a cause for suffering, which is desire, and there is a way through suffering to happiness. And so we talk, all that stuff that the Buddha taught is the Dharma, the teachings, and it's very practical, very sensical type of teaching that can be applied to absolutely every life, regardless if you're a Buddhist monastic or not. It is very, very simple and practical, and you can see how effective it is when you begin to practice it, and bringing peace to your mind as the practitioner, as well as bringing peace to the world, because the more all of us sit down and realize this truth, the more we can transcend and transmute the suffering that's going on in the world today. So the Dharma is one of the second of the jewels, and the third one is the Sangha, which is this connection with others who are like-minded, the support that is received from others who are like-minded, who are following this path, who see this truth that you see, who are wanting the same thing. And it's community. And that community could be a family, that community could be like a spiritual group. In Buddhist tradition, you meet, you gradually, you get together and you talk. It's not like a church or anything like that, though the church group, a congregation in a church could be considered a sangha for sure. But in Buddhism, you just go and you go for the sake of connecting with others who are like-minded, more or less, so in your practice. So the sangha is very important, and that commitment to the teachings through the sangha, which would help us when we start feeling that we need a little extra strength, or we're losing our way and we need someone to help us see that we're losing our way or whatever. The sangha comes in important. So I practice with the three jewels, maybe not so much in that terminology, but I do practice. I seek the Buddhahood within myself. I recognize a higher power. I do have great reference for the Buddha and for what he taught. So I read his teachings, and I also have great reference for Christ and what Christ has taught. I also have reference for, a lot of these spiritual masters who I've had the opportunity to study. So yes, I do recognize that as a jewel, and I hold it, that the wisdom of others very much in my mind, those who have actually attained enlightenment, very much in my mind and on my path towards the same state that they're reaching, though I may never reach the state that they reached. I am heading that way because of their teachings. I recognize the Dharma. Yes, I recognize the Buddhist Dharma because I see the beauty in it. I also look at other truths and other teachings, and I incorporate them all as much as I can, even my own Christian teachings from my own Christian upbringing. I try to incorporate them all into a Dharma. And though I don't have a Sangha, in the sense that what I do here is kind of maybe like a Sangha. I'm reaching out in some ways. But I don't have a group. And that may be one of the jewels that I could be lacking in and maybe seeking at some point in my life when I'm a little bit, more evolved. Regardless, that's the three jewels. I hope it makes sense. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a great morning. Namaste.